We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome. We are broadcasting live from the mothership. You are tuned in and listening to Starseed Energy Radio with your host, Jonah Bolt. Starseed Energy Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. Starseed Energy Radio goes live in 3, 2, 1.
All right, what's up, Spaceship Earth? Thanks for tuning in. You are now receiving a live transmission from Starseed Radio, where you can always tune in to hear the colors and see the music. I'm your host, Jonah Bolt. Today is Friday, a beautiful ending to the week. It is the 16th of October, and you are receiving a live transmission from the one and only Octorian Starseed on the airwaves, reaching out to all of our star brothers and sisters around the globe and off-planet as well. We have an amazing show lined up for you today. We're going to jump into the daily download with our very own Ryan Matthew Dernick, and then from that, we have our Angel News Network, news from a 5D higher perspective, joined by Phillip Collins and also Joel Anastasi. Going to be an awesome segment as well. But first, before we get started, please give StarseedRadio.com a look. We always have the latest news and updates. If you haven't checked out our feeds, we're always posting up live news as well as top stories, as well as weather trackers for space and also earthquake. We have some cool graphs to check out on there. Stay informed, stay connected. That is how you learn. Absorb information constantly. Check out also StarseedTechnologies.com if you haven't received your free piece of Elite Shungite or got your free energy information by PDF. Please email us. You can email me direct at jonahbolt@gmail.com or just go to our website, starseedtechnologies.com, and fill out the form there. We would love to send you a free piece of Shungite and also some free energy information. As well as, if you haven't checked out another amazing program that we're involved in now, check out starseedgold.com. You can open up a free gold savings account and get off the fiat currency system and onto a gold-backed system. Quite amazing stuff they're doing there. With that, we're going to start with our daily quote. Find life experiences and swallow them whole. Travel, meet many people. Go down some dead ends and explore dark alleys. Try everything. Exhaust yourself in the glorious pursuit of life. That quote, Lawrence K. Fish. I love that quote. I'm going to read it one more time. Find life experiences and swallow them whole. Travel, meet many people, go down some dead ends, and explore dark alleys. Try everything. Exhaust yourself in the glorious pursuit of life. I love that one. And thank you so much, Mr. Fish, for that quote. With that, we're going to get started with our daily download. We're joined by Ryan Matthew Dernick from bellwetherpost.com. Check out bellwetherpost.com as well for Ryan's latest news and updates. He's always posting up amazing articles. So with that, Ryan, good morning, sir. How are you today? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Jonah. How you doing today?
Doing pretty well. I stopped drinking coffee yesterday and caught a massive migraine, but I'm feeling better today, so it's a good day.
Oh, yeah, your body's just getting used to not having caffeine.
Yes, exactly. I forgot how it feels when you get off the caffeine, but yeah. Excellent. So let's get started with the daily download. What is happening in Mother Gaia and around the planet in headlines today?
Well, definitely. First off, solar activity. NOAA forecasters are estimating a 50% chance of polar geomagnetic storms on October 16th as Earth dips in and out of a solar wind stream flowing from a gigantic coronal hole on the sun. So around the bend, get ready for something new. An active sunspot may have announced itself just hours ago by hurling a massive plume of plasma over the sun's southeastern limb, and it should be rotating into an Earth-facing geoeffective focus over the next day or so. And NASA's Solar Dynamic Observatory took this a picture recently, and you can check that picture out on spaceweather.com that shows it starting to rotate on the southeastern limb, and it's a quite impressive stream coming off the southeastern limb. So over the next couple of days, we should see an increase. Right now, there's a 30% chance of a M-class flare over the next 24 hours and a 40% chance of a M-class flare over the next 48 hours. In the next 48 hours, there is an increase from 1% to 5% of an X-class flare. So something to keep in mind, and the fact that the scientists have definitely concurred on this, especially scientists out of Philippines and Southeast Asia, that when you have an increase in solar activity, that it actually correlates to increases in earthquake activity, because everything is geomagnetically involved. Now on to earthquake activity. A 4.7 magnitude earthquake occurred 222 kilometers south-southwest of Pangodi, Indonesia. A 5.0 magnitude earthquake about 36 kilometers north-northeast of Colcani, Bolivia. A 5.4 magnitude earthquake occurred 42 kilometers southeast of Esso, Russia. And a 4.7 magnitude earthquake occurred 209 kilometers west-northwest of Somlaki, Indonesia. And then another two foreshocks have occurred, or aftershocks, I should say, one of 4.5 and one of 4.9. 43 to 41 kilometers west of Abal, Chile. And on to other goings-on Earth. Mudslides and flooding closed Interstate 5 in Los Angeles County. This happened yesterday. This is, again, what we've been talking about. This is going to be the strongest El Nino in about 50 years. Right now, they're putting it in correlation with the 97 El Nino, but it's going to probably be even stronger than that. So there was heavy rain in Southern California, which triggered flash flooding and mudslides, stranding cars and leaving motorists basically without any way to get out of the rushing water and rising mud, and forced closures of major roadways. Now, 4 to 6 inches of rain have occurred between Palmdale, California, and Quartz Hill. So rainfall amounts, again, 4 to 6 inches, and there should be even more rain and the possibility of even more closures on Interstate 15 and 40, as they may be impacted by more storms, which would slow travel today. So about 8,700 Southern California Edison customers lost power from that event yesterday. And again, this is just too much of a good thing. They've had the drought, they had the fires over the summer, and now they're going to go into a deluge. Before I get into geopolitics, one last thing to note in regards to weather going around the world. Typhoon Kopu is another formidable super typhoon, and now this is threatening flooding, damaging winds to the Philippines. It should happen over the weekend and into Monday. Rapid intensification is likely to occur before it reaches Luzon in the Philippines. And people should be familiar with Luzon, as they had a typhoon there in 2013, which was very formidable. And the government of the Philippines is hoping that they can have a zero life loss policy, even though they're expecting 125 plus mile an hour winds and very heavy rainfall in the area. So thoughts and prayers go out to the Philippines and the Western Pacific, as they've seen a very tremendous amount of typhoons and tropical activity. Now, onto the ongoing refugee crisis. Turkey says no deal on the EU action plan, essentially, and this basically the leaders agreed to speed up the visa liberalization talks for Turks if Turkey stems the influx of migrants or refugees. They are refugees in my book, but they're calling them migrants as they are migrating from areas and trying to evade war-torn areas in the Middle East, specifically Syria, as we've been talking about under the regime of Assad. We've seen about 200,000 people that have died during the civil wars there over the last 4.5 years almost now. They've promised to re-energize talks on Turkey's ongoing EU and to consider more aid. However, Turkey's foreign minister, Firidun Siniroglu, said the agreement was still in draft, and he called the financial measures proposed by the European Union unacceptable, according to Associated Press agencies. And they announced they'll take in 30 to 40,000 refugees, and they are nominated for the Nobel for that, as they're hosting 2.5 million refugees, but no one cares, he said. So I know that Turkey is really taking on a tremendous undertaking here with taking in the refugees, as is most of the European Union countries, especially Germany, for that matter. Now, one more thing to note in regards to the possibility of a large earthquake. They're calling it a mega earthquake, saying that it could split continents and kill millions, and this is a warning from nuclear scientists. North and South America could split, and this megaquake could cause tsunamis that strike America and Asia, killing approximately 40 million people. And an earthquake described as imminent by a London-educated nuclear engineer. So this comes on the heels now, as we just had yesterday, the Great Shakeout, as Jonah, you and I are familiar with, the annual earthquake preparedness drills that they do across the United States and in other countries around the world. And so people are definitely, that's in the forethought of people's minds right now in regards to a possibly large earthquake event. And yesterday we were even talking about the methane gassing that is occurring off the western United States. And this is just could be, again, not only does methane cause increasing greenhouse gases and global warming, but it also could be portending a larger earthquake, because that's what you have before seismic activity, large seismic activity or volcanic eruptions. You have it's called degassing or gassing events. And so Dr. Kesh claims that the theory suggests a mega earthquake could happen as soon as Saturday, October 17th. Again, don't hold your breath. I don't think that it could happen. It will happen tomorrow, but it's something to keep in mind that the Earth is ever changing, and we live on a biodiverse planet, spaceship Earth, as we always call it here, and things are always changing and always constantly in a state of flux. Now, sadly, dozens were killed in a bomb blast in Nigeria, including 4 women suicide bombers, and this is just showing that the larger, broader sectarian violence that's going on, and this happened in Maiduguri, Nigeria. It killed at least 18 people, as well as the 4 suicide bombers, the National Emergency Management Agency and witnesses said. And the explosions happened at dawn on Friday, just hours after 2 bombs exploded near a mosque in Maiduguri, killing at least 30 people. So this is just an increase and a spreading, if you will, of the fundamentalist radicalization of certain factions of Islam, like ISIS, for instance, that are basically hijacking or taking over the religion and radicalizing it and destroying relics, ancient relics like relics in Palmyra that we've discussed previously.
Yeah, and that's been going on for a while. It's not even just ISIS, but lots of factions have gone in. Even the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, they blow up the sacred sites, they blow up the temples.
This is nothing new.
Yeah, it's just like the conquistadors. It's the Spaniards going throughout the world, destroying all the Mayan temples, and there's reasons for that. They're not just doing that because it's against religion. The higher powers that be know that these sacred sites bring in frequencies, bring in higher vibrations,
definitely.
And I think that's really more of what's happening here. Is they're using religion as a tool to go in, and that's the excuse to destroy these sacred sites. Mm-hmm. But these sacred sites, they've even made statements. ISIS, they want to go into Egypt and destroy the Great Pyramids and Great Temples. I mean, they're out of their minds.
Definitely.
There's a lot going on there that meets the eye. So
yes,
it's definitely a story to pay attention to. We don't want to continue down this path, and this is why we talk about this, because people need to be aware that there are factions right now destroying history, ancient sites. It's a travesty what's going on.
Very true. It is a travesty. And on to health and science news. They have discovered why elephants rarely get cancer, and it's the reason being in this new scientific study is that elephants have 38 additional modified copies of a gene that encodes p53, which is a compound that actually suppresses tumor formation. Whereas humans, on the other hand, have only 2, according to the study in the Journal of American Medical Association. This means that elephants have evolved their bodies and made an extra copy of genes that prevent tumors from forming. Now, this is advantageous in the future of cancer treatments as a whole, because we will be able to possibly cater this p53 into a concentration that will actually curtail and suppress tumor growth in human beings, which is going to just, again, open further the envelope of science and innovation, which will actually help people in the long run from such cancers as lymphoma, for instance. So this is just an amazing scientific advancement that is occurring. Knowledge is power, and through knowledge we can find innovations, and that really goes hand in hand with what consciousness is. The greater consciousness broadens, the more we realize that we are light beings. As we know, and Jonah, we've talked about, we are slowed down light, essentially, that we are slowed down photons. So again, people have to be aware and be conscious and just be doing your own due diligence, as we say all the time, and doing your own research so that you come to these conclusions, educated conclusions on your own. Finally, the first ancient African genome reveals complex human migrations. And as Africa, as most people know from evolutionary perspective, is considered to be the birthplace of humankind or the cradle of humanity. And that's my That's my Australian Shepherd in the background. I
Oh,
apologize
I hear
for that.
Fido.
Yes. So recently, researchers published in a paper of Science documenting the genetic code of a man who died 4,500 years ago in what now is Ethiopia. Now, scientists know after the Great Migration from Africa, where all early humans originated from, the treks took place about 60,000 years ago. Some of the Eurasians who had developed agriculture made their way back into Africa. What this means is the newly sequenced man named Moda by scientists lived in Africa before this second backwards migration. So basically what it's showing is a new depth into the DNA evolution of ourselves. And what DNA really is, as we talk about it on a conscious perspective, is it's a transmitter. It's a receiver and a transmitter. So it's a transceiver for information, for higher knowledge, essentially. And that's really what we're getting at here. So for Game of Thrones Individual of the Day, I know I like to keep it positive because there's so much. We could talk about so many negative people in the Game of Thrones. But one.
Well, there are many Ned Starks out there. Yes, Ryan.
Yes, there are. But
I still can't believe they killed Ned in the first season. I'm still upset about that.
Right? I can't believe that either. But yeah, what I would have to say is Nikolai Tesla. Nikolai Tesla is the Game of Thrones of the day. A lot of his innovations were hijacked by Rockefellers, by Edison. So he really is, like, if you want to know this, the father of what we see around us.
Nikola Tesla, great. I love that one. We haven't placed him on the Game of Thrones yet, so that's a great. I definitely have to agree with that. Nikola Tesla, official Game of Thrones person of the day. I also want to mention one article very quickly, Ron, before you left, and this one is astronomers may have found evidence of aliens in our galaxy. Mm-hmm. This was from Yale University. Astronomers at Yale University and other top schools published a new study that used NASA's Kepler Space Telescope to examine star KIC 846, blah, 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 long number. What astronomers found astonishing to them was light patterns were consistent with large orbiting masses that blanketed the star's light, an event extremely unlikely to occur naturally. Mm-hmm. So they're saying, could this be signs of alien life? Now, aliens should always be the very last hypothesis you consider, but this looks like something you would expect on alien civilization to build. That was a quote by Jason Wright, an astronomer from Penn State University. Now, I think, for one, aliens don't like to be called aliens. It's extraterrestrials, for one, so let's correct that.
Exactly.
Aliens are what you find in movies in Hollywood. But no, aliens should always be the very last hypothesis. For one, astronomers, you don't need to look out there to find ETs. We're right here. We're all over the planet.
It's true.
We've been here for a long time. Check out any sacred site, any ancient.
Yeah, look at the ancient Sumerians.
We're right here.
Look at the ancient Sumerians in the Mesopotamia. They worshipped God.
But anyways, let's let Yale and Penn and all the other ones think that they found ETs. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're right here on the radio, man. Woo! So anyways, awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jonah.
As always. And always great reporting and keeping abrupt with what's happening in the world. And now we're going to take all the news and everything you've done, and we're going to transform that into a higher state perspective called a 5D Perspective News. We're going to be joined by Phillip Collins and Joel Anastasi. They're both here in South Florida as well. I met with them earlier in the week, had a great meeting. And we're going to take all the news and updates that we've talked about today and also throughout the week and look at that from a higher perspective. So with that, I'm going to welcome Phillip and Joel to the show. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good morning, Jonah. It's Phillip and Joel. Hi, Jonah.
Excellent. Good morning. So before we get started, guys, I just wanted to take a little bit longer today with this segment, if you all have time permitting. And I wanted to carry this for about 10 minutes, take a little break, and then come back and finish the rest of the show, which is about 25 minutes, if that's okay with you both.
That's fine.
Okay, great. So I know I gave a little brief background, but if Joel or Phillip, if one of you would like to just get your perspective on what we're about to listen to, that would be great to just download the listeners a little bit of background.
Yeah, I'm a channel of higher realms, and today we're going to be connecting with the Galactic Federation, and I'll go into trance, and they'll have an opening statement, and then Joel will interface with them with the headlines of the day and allow them to give their Galactic Federation perspective on what's going on in the world and why.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And Joel, anything to say before we get started?
Well, we never know who's coming week to week, and we never know what they're going to say. So this is all going to be spontaneous. I will simply be asking any follow-up questions that seems to make sense in response to what we're hearing. Jonah, would you like to ask a question as well?
I think one of the most prevalent questions is, for me anyways, we see a lot of destruction going on around the planet, as we just talked about in the news with ISIS destroying ancient sites and things like that. We've been talking about that for years now. Really, I'd like to see a higher perspective view on why they're going into all these countries and destroying these sacred ancient sites.
Well, if as we're chatting, if you feel that you want to ask something, just jump in and ask the question.
Excellent, thank you. Whenever you gentlemen are ready, let's get started with the Angel News Network 5D perspective.
And the mission of the Angel News Network is to bring the wisdoms and frequencies of the higher realms into humanity. So this is Phillip. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to go into trance. Joel, if you'll hold the microphone.
So Phillip just takes some minutes to go into trance, and the Galactic Federation will make an initial statement. Perhaps we can ask them if they can identify and define who they are.
Greetings, beloved humans, being human upon planet Earth. Many of you have joined from various star systems throughout eternity to be a part of this experiment called Mother Gaia, called Earth. The mission of this planet is to learn to love, dear brothers and sisters. You are the love diversity of the universe, bringing together 12 star systems that seeded you. This is the reason we're joining you on Starseed Radio today. Each one of the star systems brings a responsibility, a perspective, a consciousness into this planetary plane. We are the Council of the Galactic Federation, representing many, many civilizations within your galaxy, your so-called Milky Way. As many of you are aware, your planet is in the process of evolving into a higher state of beingness. Dear ones, as you look into your night sky and you see so many stars, understand each one of them has gone through an ascension evolutionary process, not unlike the one you're going through now. You came from love and light, you will return to love and light. Your home planet is within the process of returning to light, thus everything within and upon the body of this particular planet will transmutate into light as well. Those who consciously choose to be a part of it will return to light. Those through your freedom of choice and freedom of will, which no one and no thing can interfere with on this planet, choose not to be a part of the ascension process, you will be given the opportunity to continue your soul plans, your evolutionary process as individuated souls of creation whenever you choose to. But it will be in another solar system within this galaxy, or perhaps even with another galaxy itself. So that is the foundation. We as the Galactic Federation interface with the archangelic realms, the inner earth realms, the ascended mastership realm specifically, and the evolution of your planet. We are not given any responsibility for changing things. We are here to support you. We're here to guide you. We are here to give you tools in combinations with these other higher realms. Remember, dear earthlings, all of your past golden ages, and you've had 6 of them, and this will be your final 7th one. Whether it was Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, early Greece, Aztec, Mayan, Hopi, or whatever, all were a result of their connection to higher realms. As you look at your ancient temples and your ancient artwork, you will see examples of the higher realms' contributions to these civilizations. It was the disconnect of humanity to the higher realms that caused the demise of these previous civilizations on this particular planet. You're entering the final 7th golden age of this planet to return to light. This will be a permanent healing. So all of the processes that you're choosing to go through in being human, being within your human contract, if you will, are tools that you're using to evolve. You're in the process often of learning what is through what is not. This is the way you have chosen to learn. We are observing and guiding. We often meet with your leaders, your governmental, your religious, sometimes your corporate leaders, and attempt to guide them. But again, through your freedom of choice and freedom of will, we cannot interfere with your path of how you're choosing to learn. But it is your destiny to evolve into a higher state of being and consciousness. You're in the process of beginning to make connections with higher realm civilizations, be they in the interior of your planet or beyond. You're raising your consciousness in order to gain more wisdom and technology and information to use for your evolutionary process. You will not be given all of this wisdom until you are ready to use it in a higher realm capacity with no intention to harm. So having given this foundation of information as who we are and why we are here and how we interface with you, let us begin going one by one of your news events of the day and enter into a question and answer period to integrate your wisdoms and your evolutionary process, dear one. Let us begin.
Well, thank you for joining us, first of all.
You're welcome.
Your introduction suggests that we have a universe and galaxy that is bursting with life, and that is in sharp contrast to what we just heard a little earlier in a story of astronomers scanning the universe for some evidence of extraterrestrials. They call them aliens. Kind of give us a picture of what the reality is about this universe and galaxy that truly is bursting with life, isn't it?
Dear ones, there are hundreds and millions and trillions of lives within your own galaxy itself. You're beginning and you're awakening and you're conscious to begin to realize this truth. As you look out through your telescope and your science and you see these worlds, ego and the narcissist and continue to believe, you think that the truth is that you are the only life within the universe.
We have to take a quick commercial break, Joel. I heard stop it, so we're going to be back in 3 minutes. Just let Phillip know.
The Liam Sheff Show, Thursdays on Truth Frequency Radio.
I'm not looking for a friend. I'm looking for a Jedi Master.
Jedi Master? Yoda. You seek Yoda.
Yoda.
Clear your mind of questions. You must unlearn what you have learned. The Jedi's mind flows from the Force. That is the way of things. For my ally is Force, and the powerful planet is. Its energy surrounds and binds us. It binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter.
Yes, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. Thank you, Yoda. You're listening to Star Seed Radio. Welcome back to the show. We're joined by Phillip Collins, who is currently in trance, and we're going to jump right back into the trance with Joel Anastasia, who is asking Phillip the questions from a 5D higher perspective. So please continue, Joel. Thank you.
Okay, the Galactic Federation was describing a galaxy that is virtually bursting with life, and in the introduction, they referred to the fact that the Earth had been seeded by many civilizations, and I wanted to ask if the Galactic Federation would explain why Earth was seeded by many civilizations. What was the objective? What was the goal here?
The goal, dear one, is to create a divine experiment through the forces of love, which are the building blocks of all creation. And the light, in combination with love, allowed the manifestation of matter. The meaning, value, and purpose of this particular planet with the 12 star systems coming together was to create an ascended mastership of beings that will interface with not only this galaxy, but the universe containing billions of galaxies and the universe containing billions of multiverses, dear one, into limitless and limitless eternity and creation. You are the creators creating through the human self, the self that is a reflection of all that there is. At present, there seems to be very little truth within your life, by not understanding the other life forms that are within your own solar system and your galaxy beyond. The reason for this is you have not evolved and not prepared enough to reach the quantum shift to be in contact and have the wisdom and the technology at hand without creating harm. You have had many advanced civilizations upon your planet. We would like to address specifically Atlantis. Atlantis was a civilization much more advanced than what you have achieved at this time, who had received from the higher realms many technologies beyond your imagination at this time. Through the abuse and misuse of the human mind and the human will, they felt that they could do things a better way. Through the use of these technologies and wisdoms that were given to them and gifted to them from higher realms, and they were in a position to destroy themselves and the planet and other civilizations. Thus, in turn, through a meeting of the Galactic Federation, we were given a dispensation to destroy that particular civilization before they destroyed the planet herself. As a result of some vestigial technologies that existed upon the destruction of Atlantis, civilizations such as Egypt and others afterwards were allowed to be created through certain vibrational and frequency technologies. You're in the process of reaching a quantum shift in your consciousness, are ready to understand and have a connection of higher realms that will allow you to have no intention to harm or to destroy yourself. You are within the final 2,000-year evolutionary process of this particular planet to ascend back into light. Does that help you, dear one?
Yeah, it certainly does. You know, you're talking about a long history of humanity, aren't you? Earlier, there was this story on Jonah's program where they were referring to the roots of humanity in Africa 60,000 years ago. How long ago was the Earth seeded by these civilizations, and how long ago was Atlantis?
Dear ones, humanity did not portal and vortex and gateway it through Africa. It went through Tibet, what you call Tibet. And there have been human and advanced civilizations on this planet for hundreds of millions of years. What is missing in your history, what is missing in your truth, is exactly how humanity was created in combination with an advanced civilization who came here many millions of years ago. Through a mix of their DNA with lower humanoid forms that existed on the planet, they created what is humanity today. You're beginning to find skeletons and artifacts that are beginning to piece this together, but the missing link is the connection to the higher advanced civilizations which still periodically visit this particular planet, mining the resources upon it, which is their original motivation to come here, was to gain resources to attempt to repair their own home planets and solar systems. So this history has been missing. It is mixed somewhat into drama within your underground press, if you will, at this time. But your origins and how you began on this planet are more and more becoming knowledge, and then you are able to apply that knowledge into wisdom as to exactly truly understand where humanity came from. That is why we have begun this discussion, this divine discussion, if you will, reminding you that you're an amalgamation of 12 different star systems. You have certain temples and pyramids throughout your planet which align themselves with your Stargate Sirius and other Arcturian, Palladian, Lyrian, whatever the star system might be, temples that guided you and maintain and sustain the presence of those past advanced civilizations. Does that help you?
It does. You said that mankind was in its final 2,000-year age of evolution?
You are advancing into a higher frequency of existence through increasing your consciousness, raising the love factor, if you will, the relationship with self, allowing that to mirror out into world service and beyond. Does that help you?
It does. What does you mean by the final 2,000-year age, though?
What it means is life as you have known it, the timeline, the end line, if you will, on that is coming to an end within the evolutionary pathway of this particular planet. It is the destiny of planets to return to light, to become stars, if you will, seeded by stars originally and returning to that format. In this case, you have been impregnated, if you will, by 12 different star systems, which bring various frequencies and endeavors to ensure, if you will, this laboratory of love, this loviversity. From it, the beings that will go out into your solar system, your galaxy, your universe, and multiverse will be master teachers for various civilizations, some behind your evolutionary path, some at a equal point with it, and others beyond it. It is a destiny for humanity to be a part of this master teachership of creation, dear one. Does that help you?
So we all, as human beings, are being prepared to be master teachers for the universe?
You have signed on to that. You have been going through many incarnational cycles and civilizations, coming and going. But the coming and going is coming to an end. It is time to have a permanent healing of self and allow that as a reflection of all that there is to factor out throughout your planet into a we consciousness, moving from a me to a we consciousness, and allowing that to serve your planet, activating the soul plan of the planet into a unity consciousness, and then taking that unity consciousness out into your solar system and further out into your galaxy and beyond. Does that help you?
It does. Now, earlier we had this story about ISIS and these various revolutionary groups that are destroying all these sacred sites. How do you put that in a context of the evolution of consciousness?
Dear one, these various terrorist organizations, as you call them, are being funded by hidden powers, by certain powers that have been controlling your planet for millennia. You're in a position of a small percentage controlling the majority, and within that is a smaller group of entities on your planet that have been controlling you for millennia. They are funding these organizations to destroy certain temples and ancient civilizations which are in the process of being rebooted in order to facilitate your evolutionary point of advancement. These hidden forces wish to maintain and sustain you within their control and to keep you in a herd small consciousness, dear one. Does that help you?
It does. It sounds like an awesome force. So what would you recommend our response to that be?
To become aware of who these hidden forces are, to know that they exist, to make another decision as a collective voice as to the changes you would like to take place on your planet, who you would like to be your leaders, what qualities they should maintain and sustain, in order to be of we the people, for the people, by the people, and insist upon this, and see yourselves individually as good enough and worthy enough to come together in a collective voice, to have leaders who truly serve the people, rather than allowing a small percentage to attempt to control something they did not create. The folly of these individuals is that they cannot control what they did not create. They did not create this planet. They did not create humanity. But that they have worked here with dark forces for quite some time in an attempt to control you. So the question we at the Galactic Federation would like to ask humanity on this particular planet this time is, have you had enough of giving your power away to others? Have you had enough of not remembering, knowing that you are the creator creating? That you had that power within your DNA and your RNA and your spiritual chakras which are opening. Your junk DNA, your spiritual DNA is now activating as a result of the ascension process of the planet, and it is your divine destiny to enter into this transmuted divine format of light, dear ones. Does that help you?
You brought up the issue of the leadership we're choosing. I'm just curious, how are those forces of control showing up in our own country, in the United States, in terms of the politics we're seeing now? Would you like to make any observations about that?
Dear ones, your present governmental situation is fraught within duality, separation, leading to conflict, which leads to destruction, not construction. So you have reached an apex of duality. As a result of this, you can begin to make a choice or not of moving into we consciousness. This begins with a relationship with self that mirrors out to others, out into a collective voice of unity, we consciousness. You're seeing the folly of humanity playing out within your politics and your government at this time. Dear ones, you have been gifted with two mighty tools in your creation. Your internal gyro system is your resonance, how you feel of something from your heart spaces. Your discernment, how you think about it. Combine the resonance of the discernment, and you will see a clear path of a choice that is the best use of your energy and serves the highest good of self and others, dear one. Does that help you?
So you're telling us to pay attention and to discern who is appealing to the selfish me as opposed to the collective unity idea of we.
Your attention will create an intention which will create a new paradigm of manifestation. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. Pay attention to what you intend, and allow that to manifest a new paradigm. Can you ask yourself, dear humans of planet Earth, as we gaze upon you from higher realms, are you not sick and tired of being sick and tired of what you're experiencing and witnessing? Do you wish to continue the folly of your duality and separation to continue? What is your answer, dear ones? Or do you wish to create a new paradigm? There are many of you who are raising your consciousness. There have been many cosmic and planetary events taking place that are assisting you in your evolutionary path. Dear ones, you were earlier speaking about the weather and the natural events upon your planet. Dear ones, it is your emotions and your thoughts which create your weather patterns, which get stored within your atmosphere and beyond. They create much of your weather systems. Be aware of where your storms begin and where they hit and where they head to. What is the consciousness of the origin of the storm? What is the consciousness of where they land? What type of clearing and cleansing are they creating, which can create a we consciousness within a shift, the focus of humanity, and allow you to come together to love and support one another as a result of that particular storm? You have discussed your geopolitical activities. See that in combinations with your emotions and your thoughts, which are creating your reality, which are creating disease within your bodies, dear one. It is your emotions and the thoughts that they create which impede the flow of energy within your divine bodies, which are programmed to live for eternity. They create blockages and armoring around yourselves, which create disease and take you off the planet. Dear ones, the final hurdle of humanity is conquering your physical death. Your DNA and your RNA and your cells are programmed to live for eternity. You're in the process of returning to your formless, eternal state of beingness. You have learned much through being dense matter. But dear ones, as you've heard many times before, it only matters in matter. You're in the process of transcending matter. Does that help you?
Yes, you just said that we're programmed to live for eternity. Most of us are lucky to live till 80. So what was it that you were saying is interfering with our potential?
Your emotions and thoughts, dear ones. Pay attention to what you're feeling. Pay attention to what you're thinking. Pay attention to that silent conversation with self. Is it shaming and blaming and judging self, thus others? Or is it one of a loving format? Be aware, dear ones, that's how powerful you are. We observe you from a galactic point of view, and we see the struggle to survive life. You are not living here waiting to die, dear ones. You are living here to transcend, to transmutate into your eternal state of beingness. You've actually really never died. You've simply changed physical formatting. And even that is coming to an end within the evolutionary path of humanity upon this particular planet through the ascension process. You've had some miraculous divine beings on your planet, which you call ascended masters, who have had many, many lifetimes upon your planet. They are being and showing you a pathway of where you are leading and going within your futures, dear one. You are all in the process of becoming ascended masters of where you are at this moment. Does that help you?
You referred that all humanity is on the path of the ascension process. Could you just kind of explain what that means to our listeners, the ascension process?
The ascension process is moving from a dense carbon-based reality into a crystalline light structure, moving at a higher vibrational frequency to a place where no harm and no negativity and no duality or separation or compensation can exist, allowing a more refined, defined service to all that there is. Does that help you?
And that is certainly implies that it's all energy. We were talking. You were indicating that our weather and so much of the phenomenon that were being discussed earlier, and so on, is a reflection of our consciousness. And we were talking about the sunspots, the massive energy outbursts that were coming from the sun, and they were also talking about El Nino, which of course is a huge, massive amount of water. Are you saying that do the sunspots affect our consciousness, or does our consciousness affect the sunspots? What's the
Your sun creates an electromagnetic field that protects your planet from the bombardment of the cosmos. The sun creates an embryonic electromagnetic field around your entire solar system and each of your planets. The collective suns within your galaxy create an embryonic electromagnetic field around the entire galaxy and creates a womb of protection. Your sciences have not yet completely understood the aspects of sun, of star. Your sun is actually not a heated body of beingness. It creates heat whenever it encounters another dense force field such as your planet and warms your planet. The activity upon the star affect each and every planet within this particular solar system and beyond. But the primary focus of your sun, your primary star, if you will, is to maintain and sustain the ability of life as you have known it. Now, dear ones, there are many forms of life that are not dependent upon the variables that are needed for this particular planet. You're in the process of learning that reality as well. Life can be engendered upon many forces in creation. It is a limited capacity. As you're seeing and discovering on your planet the trillions of life forms on your planet, some of them need light, some of them don't, some of them need air, some of them don't. Some of them need oxygen, some of them need methane. There can be many, many variables in the creation of life. It is limitless. And your scientists, your natural scientists are beginning to understand this. Does that help you?
So you're saying that if we're looking for life out in the universe that reflects the life that we're familiar with on Earth, we're probably missing a lot because there are other kinds of life forms that are nothing like what we're used to on Earth.
There are both. There are many life forms that would have what you would call a humanoid formality that would look rather familiar to you. And there's some that would be completely alien to you. There are also many life forms living in frequencies that you cannot see nor hear. This is the case with many of the planets within your solar system. You do not have the sciences to actually detect or see a civilization living in a frequency that's beyond your ability to detect it. This will change in your foreseeable future, dear one. Does that help you?
Yeah, we've been talking about life. What is life?
Life is a combination of a frequency called love in combination with an energy called light. And what you do with that love and that light, in the particular case of a human being, through freedom of choice and freedom of will, is up to you. Let us take nuclear energy, for instance. It is created within the compounds of love and light. You have chosen to create bombs out of it to kill one another. So we ask you, how do you think that energy feels being manipulated by your free will and choice to kill rather than love? It is these realities of existence you're beginning to ponder and to discover. Does that help you?
Wow, that's such a powerful image. How does the energy feel that we're using it to kill rather than love? Just to come back to some of the topics we heard mentioned earlier on the program, there was some forecasting about massive.
We have about 1 minute left, Joel, just so you know.
Okay. They were forecasting the possibility of a giant earthquake that would separate North America and South America. Is there any likelihood that events like that would happen that would kill millions of people?
Your planet is in the process of breathing in and breathing out. It's in the process of your continents coming together. At one time, they were all massively formed together. They have broken apart, and they will come together, and there will be large geographical events within the evolutionary process of this planet returning to light. Your thoughts and your emotions and your activities as a result of that will affect that activity, dear one. It need not be as destructive as has been forecasted.
And what would mitigate it?
How you think and how you feel and the actions that result as a result of those emotions and thoughts.
So a consciousness of love would mitigate it.
Indeed.
Well, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to add to...
Just be aware that we exist. We are your brothers and sisters of the Galactic Federation, and we are here to love and to
There's a public outcry for people who want a better planet, and there are powers that be that let the people panic. Look at the Gulf of Japan, could they have really planned it? Heading for the iceberg like the Titanic. Atlantic mystery, Atlantis white from history.